to your other home?
Yes,
Oh, okay. How long are you going to be away?
till the day we come back, day before Thanksgiving.
What?
He does know we're waiting for him, right?
Day before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Oh, you're kidding me? What?
Sounds like you missed the October meeting. That's why I was talking to him
Ah,
when I was there. You know,
Hello.
with the family. And we were there with my son. for
Super,
4
thank you.
days in
Bye-bye.
June. Just pass it by. So how's everybody?
I don't think that second hand actually works. I think we're ready.
It's not moving,
I think we're
that's
ready.
why.
Sticking forward.
Is it
No,
go?
that's about right time.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then we're on. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Village of Rybrook Planning Board meeting. Let us all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Likely story.
Thank you for being here and all those people watching out there in TV land, I guess. My name is Rob Goodman. I'm chair of the planning board. Our board members in attendance are John Gerzan, Donald Crum, Jeffrey Richmond, and Amy Schoen. Scott Mendelson and Matthew Retner are excused for tonight. Also in attendance is our village attorney, Robert Zitt, our superintendent of public works, Michael Nowak, our village planning consultant from Hardesty in Hanover. What is your name, sir?
Malcolm Simpson.
Oh, Malcolm, right, Malcolm Simpson. Thank you for
He
coming.
was here doing the planning.
And also, in spirit, we thank our secretary, Tara Orlando, for all the work that she does behind the scenes to get us here and deal with the minutes and all the organizational activities that have to be done. So thank you, Tara. And also, I always forget him, although he's the most important person in the room, David Heiser, our liaison from the Board of Trustees. Thank you for coming, David, even though I ignore you at least 50% of the time, right? Ah. Okay, touche. I'm not even going to come back to that. I deserve it. Okay. Our first agenda item are the minutes of, I think, July. Are there any amendments, notes to the minutes? I think it's July 11th.
I was reading, and it was very nice how Michael and Dan kind of knocked down my suggestion. But then when I read the minutes of the meeting, it was a little bit humorous that we do have the most stringent stormwater
In the- yeah,
requirements
right.
in the universe. And every time there is a little rain, we have floods.
Well, there
So
you
I don't know
go.
what the heck is going
That's the
on.
reason why it's stringent. It would be worse, I guess, if it were less stringent.
Maybe that'll be a training
I
session.
am sure that what you said was correct, but it was just kind of, I find it a
Well,
little bit ironic.
I would amend, if you want to amend the minutes, I would say residential. The commercial is very sort of middle of the road for New York State. but-
Okay.
But residential.
But
Yeah.
I would,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that makes much more.
So you want to amend?
No, I
the-
don't, I really
you
don't
care?
care.
Okay.
I thought it was humorous.
Okay, can I have a motion and a second to adopt the minutes of July 11th?
So move,
Second.
Mr. Grzan,
yes.
Mr. Crum,
Yes.
Mr. Richmond,
Yes.
Michonne,
Abstain. I wasn't here.
Oh, okay,
Can't accept what I wasn't here to hear.
Yes,
I thought you were
so
protesting.
4 yeses. Thank you.
okay. And our first item is 900 King Street. Okay, give us the lowdown, so to speak, on what's going on with this application.
There we go. Hi, I'm Tony Veneziano. So we're back again. Since the last extension you granted, oh boy, there's been some activity. The monuments are, we resolved our differences with the village board regarding the valuation and the tax program. We've submitted an application to the IDA that needs to be refined and then processed. And we've executed a purchase and sale agreement with a company.
Louder, please.
Oh, yeah,
The
you have to,
com-
you have to speak
okay.
into the microphone.
We executed a purchase and sale agreement with a company called Sunrise Development. So Sunrise, and this is within the last 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay,
Sunrise is one of the leading and largest owners, operators, and developers of senior housing in the country.
Yeah, Sunrise.
They have 240 senior living communities that they own and operate, including more than 40 new properties that they developed over the last 10 years. So it's a very well-funded, very professional, they understand things, they're reviewing the plans for the architecture, et cetera. So they also operate 2 communities in Westchester, one's in Crestwood, one's in Fleetwood.
They're in Stamford also.
State to New York, yeah, they're all over the place. So they're involved, they're going through their due diligence, and I've been retained by them to come in, and one of the things we didn't do, I don't know if it was because of COVID or what, but we never finished with the ARB. So we need an approval from your board, need an approval from the village board in the next few weeks, and then we need the ARB approval. Our team, sort of the old team / Sunrise, is reviewing the plans. They're trying to keep the buildings where they were, and just maybe deal with the facade. So once those decisions are made, we'll submit to the ARB, we'll get the ARB approval, we'll start to process the IDA approval, and we'll satisfy the conditions. There's 6 or 7 things that I have to do, 4 or 5 of them are already resolved. And we'll be moving towards development, which will be the demolition, which I know the village wants in the summer. And they'll start their construction plans as soon as probably we get ARB approval. But they'll take a while, and then the village has to review them. So that's sort of the process. There has been progress. They're a very active developer. They have 4 or 5 people on this project reviewing the due diligence. So that's where we stand. Yes.
What, is the structure going to be the same, or are they making changes? The outside?
The facade, they're reviewing the facade. I'm sure they'll have color, I'm sure they'll have their, whatever Sunrise develops. But as the building's held up, it's gonna, right now, it looks like it's gonna, all 4 corners of each of the buildings is remaining. So I think it's gonna, for the most part, be the same. We don't wanna go back and revisit height with the arbors, et cetera. Remember that whole discussion we had with?
Sure.
Right? It was torturous. So I think it's pretty much going to look the same. I don't know what they're going to put on it, but they have their internal architects and so forth. I got a memo today. They want to have a conference call with the architects to get their processing. They're starting to process the ARB, pick up that application to get that approved.
okay. Now, and Sunrise is willing to work with all the people that have been working on this project since the beginning, I assume?
Perkins Eastman is the architect. They are remaining as the architect. John Meyer Consulting was the engineer. They're the engineer, and I'm still the attorney.
Okay, okay, that's fine. And I gather, Robert, that there's a similar application pending before the Board of Trustees. Has that been acted on yet? I'm just curious.
No,
No, that's still pending. When do you-
September 24th.
That will be on our
Oh,
next agenda.
sorry,
Right,
yeah.
right, okay. Well, so when, it's an unfair question, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. When do you think they're gonna break ground on this? Another year, 2 years?
I think
Within?
there will be more pertinent question to ask why the ground hasn't been broken in 3 years.
Well, they've been negotiating with the village over tax issues. There's been a lot, behind the scenes are,
Also-
Robert, you may know more about it
I
than
can't
do.
believe that 3 years after, the ARB hasn't acted on this yet. It's been 3 years today that we have given
Right.
the approval.
Yeah, I don't have an explanation for that. Do you?
We had, no, that's on our side. So we were processing with the ARB. Somewhere between COVID and the end of our process, we pulled back. That will happen quite quickly.
Yeah, I would
It
imagine.
should take a
so.
meeting, maybe 2, but that should happen quite quickly.
Is that on their agenda right now?
No, like I said, there's a letter here. I got a memo today from Perkins Eastman saying we have to review these issues and interface this with the approvals to make sure it's okay. And so they want my opinion on some of these things they've been working on. So I mean, that should go in very quickly.
Yeah,
Perkins Eastman's a
I'm
very
still a
good.
little puzzled, because if Sunrise comes in, Sunrise facilities have pretty much similar, each one has pretty much similar type styles. And I'm not sure if they make changes that the ARB should be the one to just say, okay. I mean, isn't that going to go before the Board of Trustees again? First?
If it needs to go to any, no, we are going to avoid both you and the village board. We're going to make decisions to avoid you. My inference of the four corners of the building remaining the same was a cue. The building's the same. They
I-
might do different
Since
window
when,
treatments.
I guess I have, I'm probably getting, it's a problem when you get old. But since, when did I miss it? Since when did the ARB get the approval
Yeah.
authority? I thought they had the
Yeah.
recommendation
Much too much.
requirements. Or they had the approval authority with respect to what?
Architectural Review Board has full approval authority over the exterior of the building with regards to the facade, the finishes, the windows, doors, trim. They have full review of that.
Does that come in line with the timing of the issuance of the construction permit, or is that part of the site plan approval as a overall?
That comes prior.
How can the
That
planning
comes
board
after
and
site plan
That's
approval
right.
and prior to building, and before building permit.
That's right.
Because, you know, the lead agency in this case is the Board of Trustees. It's a major project. We have a small responsibility with regard to the steep slopes and wetlands, which is insignificant. But we did have a major role in making our recommendation to the Board of
Right.
Trustees before they issued the approval. It's just mind-boggling that 3 years later, one of our board could be holding the project or making the changes to the project of this magnitude. I just don't see it.
I don't know whether they're making any changes to the project. I think
If
the
you're not going to
original,
make changes to a project, then what kind of approval are you having?
I think you may be misunderstanding what the approval is or what the authority is. In this case, if the new applicant or owner wants to do a stucco facade instead of a brick facade, that's not a site plan change. That's purely a facade
That's-
change.
that's an
If they want to
architectural,
do double hung windows instead of
Right.
whatever, I mean, a casement window, that's architectural review board.
But
If they want to
plantings
have
aren't.
a porte cochere or not, that's architectural review board.
But
That doesn't
plantings
fall under
and
planning because the building, the footprint,
exterior-
the site work, that's all the same.
I still,
But the ancillary things to the building itself are not part of the ARB. The plantings, all of that stuff.
Correct, but that falls under the site plan approval. ARB doesn't
They have nothing.
deal with landscape.
That's right.
The planning board, in their
Does.
site plan, already approved the landscaping, the
Assuming there are no
restoration, the
changes.
stabilization.
As we approve
Well,
a
as
plan. That's
Mr.
what I'm asking.
Veneziano saying,
Are
the
any
footprint
change-
of the
any
building is staying.
changes, are those changes going to be presented to us that apply to us?
All right, so Sunrise is my client for 3 weeks.
Mike,
I mean, I
So-
suspect if I were them, considering that they are purchasing something that doesn't even exist yet,
Right.
that has gone through years and years of
I think that
environmental
doesn't sound
review
right to me.
and negotiation, they would be insane to start changing things. And I suspect they will let things ride and see how things go, get everything done, move in, start operations.
Started something.
And then if they want to make changes down the road, like with any owner, they can try to make changes.
They have to come,
But I think to
Site plan
hold
changes.
up the actual
Yeah.
construction of the building,
sure.
I don't think that's in their interest. I'm
Well,
correct.
with all due defense for the ARB, I don't believe the ARB is holding anything up.
No, I'm not saying, I'm
No,
saying.
not
Or the
I'm not-
applicant.
I'm saying that
I
the-
think
I'm
that there
saying
were
that-
mutual things that both entities had to work on, and things got pulled back so both could work
No,
on them.
I agree. I'm just saying that
I'm
from
not
the
even
owner's
talking about the building
perspective,
itself.
I don't think there are going to be significant changes that are going to throw a wrench in the process of permitting, because, if they're purchasing you know, a facility sight unseen, you know, they want that built.
It
They don't
just,
want to be delayed anymore.
you can spin this any way you want. It doesn't sound right that 3 years later, after the board approved major project, that we have a sub-board in this village that is going to render a separate approval of its own. Okay? It just does not sound right. Okay?
Listen, I'm not here to get into a debate with the planning board, but it's no different than any other application that's gone before the planning board, zoning board, and
It's a
architectural review
timing,
board.
Michael, 3 years later.
Yeah, I know, but they
That
have.
is-
Mr. Chairman, I'm not going to get into this
Yeah, yeah,
discussion,
yeah.
but I believe that this is going down a different road
Yeah,
than
I
it needs
agree.
to go.
That's fine.
And if we need to have a discussion in an executive session with council to discuss this, then let's do that.
No.
To clear this out. But I believe that there's a little misunderstanding on who has what authority here. And I'm not going to get into that discussion right now. I just tried. But I think we're going down a rabbit hole that we don't have to.
I would agree, and the only thing that's before us is extending the authority of our, you know, of our decision from, you know, last year. I suspect the Board of Trustees will do it. This project needs to go forward. I think we have within our jurisdiction the ability to extend it for a year. I'd say let's do it.
Well, we already extended it.
If we don't extend it,
Yeah.
then it's going to create more
I'm not
problems.
saying, I'm not saying we shouldn't extend it. By all
Right.
means, we should.
Yeah.
Okay? I still think that our extension is meaningless if the Board of Trustee does not give an extension to the site plan approval, because our project does not exist if there is no site
That's
plan
what,
approval.
well, look, that's why I asked about the status of the board, the application pending before the Board of Trustees. But I can almost guarantee you, and we have a liaison from the Board of Trustees here, that they are going to extend whatever permits have been issued to
So can
allow
we,
this
can
project
we
to go
condition
forward.
our extension this evening with the assumption that the board would provide their extension within a 2 week?
I don't think it makes any difference. I think if we extend it for a year, and if the Board of Trustees, in their infinite wisdom, decided not to, well, that's the end of it, because there's site plan approval. I mean, we're only extending, you know, our
Portion
from
of it.
our portion, which is just wetlands and steep slopes. So I would say, let's just give
So
the
you,
extension.
Mr. Chairman, you're looking this as two separate projects. I like to look this all as one.
All I
one
know is that
project.
there's an application before us to extend the authority we have granted the applicant to pursue a steep slopes and, you know, wetlands permit. And that's the only thing that is before us. I understand this project has been going on for a long time, but I also understand that it's the interest in the village to get it done, and I don't want to inhibit it. So, you know, unless there's, you know, further discussion about this, the ability for us or we should somehow not give an extension or limit the extension, then we should adopt it and approve it.
I think by all means we should give an extension.
Okay.
But I think, and I know that Mr. Venziano could not give us any assurance this evening that this thing is going to start this coming summer with the demolition. But, you know, even when we were looking to approve the project, I think, you know, sometimes there was some concern, at least on my part, and I'm sure there's probably others' part, that, you know, was there, you know, how is this going to go forward? Is there a need for this project? Or, you know,
I know, but that's all but
it's
John, that's
all
all
water under the
water,
da-
that's
yeah,
all
it's
water
all-
under the bridge.
But also, you know, the 4 years have gone, that now it's almost 6 years if you're going to look at the beginning, and I'm sure there are consequences to the village if this thing doesn't go forward. You know, we would just had a dormant property there for all this time.
Mr. Chairman, can I just say one thing?
Yes, sir.
So, Sunrise and my client have met with the mayor and the village administrator.
Oh,
It-
that,
it-
that-
they-
I'm
they've
sure
met.
that
They
there's
know
been
what's
some.
going on. We're on the 24th. I
I'm
talked
sure
to
you
Chris
did, yeah.
today. It's gonna move forward. It's gonna be fine. And by saying that Sunrise is in contract, it's a very substantial, it almost ends the discussion of whether this is going forward or not.
Of course.
Okay, it's just a matter of how fast. and they're coming in, they're very thorough. Once they submit to the ARB and start processing, this will move pretty quickly. It's a very professional group.
But would they be the new owner of the property or the builder? What's the Sunrise?
They'll hire
What's
a
their
builder.
role in the project?
Sunrise will, if they purchase it, there's a purchase and sale agreement. Should they purchase it, they will own it and operate it. There's also a provision in there for a joint venture where, et cetera. But I'm pretty sure that they're gonna own and operate it.
But
They're a
right now,
national
who is the
company.
potential builder on this project?
You'd hire a builder, the contractor, you mean?
No, who is the owner that's actually going to?
Sunrise.
Sunrise,
Sunrise.
they're a huge
They're
organization.
huge, 240
Huge.
community, they're a very
Yeah,
large
I mean,
company.
that's their business. That is strictly their business.
That's all they do.
Look, I think,
Publicly traded company.
I think that there's a lot of discussion about this, does not have to be
Right.
on the record before the planning board. I think if there are concerns, they should be brought to representatives of the Board of
Yeah,
Trustees.
well,
We can talk
David
to David
hears it,
about
so-
it. He can sort of bring it to the attention of the mayor if there are issues that we're really concerned about relating to the processing of all this. But I think for our purposes, we have a limited application before us. I'd say let's deal with it so that we can
Right.
provide services to the next applicant who's been waiting very patiently on this. So unless there's, yeah. Of course, come on up.
Pardon my lack of dignity.
Oh, no, you have plenty of
He hadn't
dignity.
noticed, David.
I was at last week's meeting, and it was very productive. They had representatives of Sunrise, which I keep thinking should be called Sunset, given the nature of its business.
Of course. Which is the reason why they don't call it
That's a negative,
sunset.
David.
Nobody
Sunrise is
listens
a
to me.
positive.
I
Peter
understand.
Duncan was there. And we got the impression that the changes that they were talking about were internal changes. Is the bathroom gonna be here? Is the bathroom gonna be here? Is the hallway gonna be here? Things like that. There were no changes in height, no changes in the number of units, no changes in the overall look of the building.
What about the townhomes?
No changes
Okay,
that we are concerned about. What we wanted them to do, and they agreed to, is to expedite filing with the ARB and get the application for the IDA. So our goal in 2 weeks is to try to grant that extension that they're gonna want, but we would like them, if at all possible, to get the demolition done when school is not in business.
right,
Right.
right.
Whether that will
Understood.
be possible, I just don't know. Nor do I have any idea how long it takes demolition to do.
Right, I mean, it's a very big facility that's sitting there right now.
Yeah,
So
I
it could
mean,
take some
basically,
time.
the school is out for 2.5 months. I don't know if demolition can be accomplished in that period of time.
Right, understood.
But we did have a really productive meeting last week.
Okay, I mean, it sounds like everyone is on the same page on this, which I think was of concern to us. But that being said, unless there's any other comments relating to the application, any further comments? No?
No.
Can I have a motion to approve the application for an extension of a year?
Moved.
Second.
You don't have to. So, moving forward, because I know you guys don't like long-winded resolutions,
Okay,
I think there's a way to streamline it. You just make a motion to adopt the resolution as drafted
okay.
in a final form, subject to council's approval. This way, it spares me from having to bore you with the whole resolution unless the board's preference is that I read it.
It's just an extension, so
Yes.
I assumed the verbiage.
Just, resolutions generally, if you guys want
Yeah,
to change that.
provided by
practice.
council
Yeah.
is sufficient. Okay,
I moved that.
okay. We're ready to vote.
Mr. Grzan?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Crum?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Richmond?
Yes.
Yes. Mrs. Schoen?
Yes.
Yes. Chairman Goodman?
Yes,
Yes, thank you.
good luck, sir.
Thank you very much. We heard what you said. We'll move as quickly as we can. Thank you.
I
And
know
think
you
the-
will.
the-
It's
the
probably not just
demolition-
us either.
Demolition is mostly, the building will come down, but there's it's the approvals you need before the testing and the approval, so we'll get on that. Thank you very much.
Sure. Okay, our next matter is 35 Meadowlark Road.
I guess I'm getting good at this one. Yeah, there you go. There you go. I don't know about that, but, listen. All we can do is try. Okay, I'm here tonight on behalf of the Schwartzes, who live at 35 Meadowlark. And it's a large lot. It's an interesting lot because it's got an easement, the utility easement, cutting through it on an angle, which makes it challenging to add to and renovate the house. They've actually been looking for a couple of years to buy a different house to fix and make bigger. And we've looked at, I mean, so many houses they've dragged me to, and like, if they've lost out bids, and it's just, it's been like a nightmare. And I was like, well, this, you know, it has some challenges, but I think we can make this house actually work and not move and get closer to the house that they're trying to.
John, this gas line easement,
Yep.
25 foot,
Yes,
that belongs, the owner owns the land, and of course, you cannot develop within the 25 foot of the gas line. correct?
exactly. I mean, other than like their driveways on it, but like driveways and stuff can be on it, but no building.
Now, did the gas line come after the current home was built or before?
I want to say it was,
been a-
I'm thinking it was after, but I don't really, I have no idea. I don't.
I mean, there's the agreement that Mike was kind enough to send us, which is April 2020.
Right, so. it
That was
would
just
go
a use,
afterwards.
that was just a use agreement.
Yeah, that's just a use agreement
That's just the
for
me-
what's there. I mean, I'm
Right,
here.
so the easement goes back.
Yeah,
The
I'm
reason
here
I'm
20
in
years,
terms
and that
of-
pipeline's been
is,
here
the
for 20
agreement.
years.
How much hardship has been caused to the owners of the property? How much hardship does the easement? and-
Well, the easement causes a hardship on adding to the house.
Yes.
Because we're limited on expanding, because it
Yeah.
runs kind of close to the back and it cuts across it. So they have a really nice building envelope, but it's cut by this 25-foot easement that most people don't have, and it's kind of unique, and the lot is big, and it's kind of, like, I think we can make it work with a few variances that are, I think, are reasonable, other people have gotten. I don't think anybody driving by there would even notice the house doesn't conform, in theory. So, so we can go through what we're suggesting, and then I know we need to go to zoning to get our variance for the front yard setback and the existing nonconformity of the right side. We need your approval,
Right.
you know, and stuff, so.
Actually, I was thinking of this when we had our pre-agenda meeting, but with the owners, I would like sort of a site visit, to arrange a site visit to your property, so, because I'm one that cannot read plans or look in 3 dimensions of anything. And I want to see where this easement is, and then maybe we can be taken through how you're trying to manage, you know, that impediment.
On the side.
And that'll make things, I think, a lot clearer for us, because I'm reading the plans. It makes sense to me, but I don't have a sense of how big the lot is,
Right,
how
right,
much is there that is going to be added. I do note that the amount of impervious surface is going to be less.
Yes.
I don't know how you're doing that.
Well, we're getting rid of a huge driveway that comes all the
Right,
way, wraps around
right,
the
okay.
house, and we're putting it in the front, so the driveway's gonna get a lot smaller, and the addition is pretty,
Okay.
so the addition's less than.
Why don't you take us through? I'm sorry to interrupt
No,
you.
that's fine.
Yeah.
So, all right, so I'm gonna show you photos of the house, so this way you can see, so that's what it looks like from Meadowlark, that's the front. And then the driveway kinda comes in from the side, and the garage right now is in the
Okay.
basement, which is one of the things we're trying to change, cause it's not always most desirable to have your garage in your basement. And
Right.
we also can get rid of the driveway, and get more usable space in the rear of the house. So right now it's the ranch house, and then the backyard, you go back down.
Okay,
on the
I know.
playground, down
I
the
got it.
backyard.
Okay.
So we're trying to develop the upper backyard a little bit more around the house, so it's more usable right at the house. So, all right, so we walked around the house. That's it for my photos.
Now, you're going to add a floor. You're going to add
We're
a
adding a
floor?
second floor.
You're adding a second floor.
So,
So that easement says 75 feet, right?
75. Where is that?
That's the easement's not 75, that's the back, that's from the property line to the house is 75 feet.
It says on the plans, on the
No.
survey plan, it says 75-foot easement, wide
Yeah,
easement on the
so-
survey plan.
John, we noticed this sort of during the pre-meeting.
This is my site plan, that's.
No,
I'm talking
I
about
understand
the
that, but the easement itself, it's actually 75 feet. The marking that you have is 25 feet to the actual line, the gas transmission line. The easement itself is actually 75 feet.
Oh, okay, so it goes further into the back,
Yeah,
okay, all right.
that's, I mean, it's
Goes
not,
all the way up to the property line.
Right, in the
So
southern.
what is the actual width of an easement?
the width of
The
this,
actual width of the easement?
75 feet.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a large one, and
Transmission.
Yeah, wow, that's large.
Well, they do it large to get access, like, the easement is to have access over that amount of property, not necessarily that you're
Right,
using.
right.
No, are you aware of the pressure in that pipeline?
I mean, I don't know the exact calculations, but we know.
It could be like 20 to 50 times higher than a distribution line. I mean, that is a serious pipeline. 24 inches in diameter. I mean, it's been there a long time. I don't want to, scare anybody, but it's serious. As owners, you're aware of that, right? Right, no, I know. It's like a pinhole risk, but it's catastrophic. Like, that easement is probably,
Don't scare them, please.
no, I mean, no, just Google, I used to develop natural gas plants. Natural gas plants, this is a high-pressure interstate transmission line. It's 2,000 miles long ultimately, and it's between, I don't know the exact pressure, but it's over 200 PSI, whereas local distribution is something like 10 PSI. It could be as high as 1,000, I don't know all the details, but it is serious. The 75 width may not even be what they would allow today. So my comments are going to be about safety, because if you look at the protocols, the use agreement says you may not touch anything in that right of way without a rep from the gas company, not the local gas company, the transmission gas company being on site. They're talking about when you take pavement away, and there's a lot of pavement to take away on the driveway, they're talking about you can't go lower than a foot below the surface, and having to have reps on site. That's in the existing agreement. I'm not making this up. So, I mean, it's incredibly serious.
But that was the question that I asked, what came first?
I
Gas
think
line
that-
or the home?
Given the I have questions about the providence of the driveway, but you wouldn't think they would ever. The driveway, a piece of the driveway actually looks like it's on top of the pipe. So it's possible that they dug the pipe under it or something. They have ways to do that. It's also possible that it's very deep and not a concern, so I don't really know how deep it is there. I mean, maybe it's, 30 feet deep there. I don't know. But I've looked at the regs. It's regulated by the federal government. It's regulated by the state government. The Interstate Pipeline, Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. If they need to make any changes to the safety or the operation of that pipeline, they have to file permits with the federal government and the state government. It's highly regulated. I mean, it's serious. I'm just saying it's serious. And so, I mean, when we do things like construction plans, like sometimes if there's environmental stuff, making builders file extra, plans with the village on how they're going to do stuff, not just what they're going to do, how they're going to do it. I'm expecting, and if they don't, I would think the village would want it. Exactly how is that driveway going to be removed? Where is this, if there's any construction equipment on the site, where is it going to be staged? You cannot, for instance, have heavy construction equipment on top of that pipe. You just look at that use agreement and read the fine print, the 2020 use agreement. It's not boilerplate, like, it's serious. I mean, does anybody else have more?
I don't know, look, we went over it, a little bit, ourselves, and it's relatively restrictive. So, there may be some value in bringing the gas company in just to make sure that everything is okay, with what it is that you guys are planning to do, and
Mr. and Mrs. Schwartz, do you have use of that property right now? Can you, if you have kids, for example, would they, and I hope you do, can they play on top of the pipeline? They can, right? So you have no restrictions from the gas company?
Read the use agreement.
Yeah.
That play area is even not in the use agreement. Play equipment that's anchored into the soil would be a violation of of the use agreement.
So the swing set, you
The
can-
swing set, to the extent that's at all anchored or dug into the soil at all, I mean, I'm not talking about a little Tykes thing that sits on top of the soil. I understand you have use to traverse over the soil, but I've looked at the use agreement, and that play area is not on the use agreement.
I like your idea of having the gas company.
Yeah,
No, so it's,
Yeah, they made that agreement.
I lived across the street, and, the pipe runs through into the arbors.
I understand.
But my understanding was that the pipe, and I don't know if this plan shows exactly where the pipe was, but I thought the pipe was to the left of their driveway where their lawn is.
that's not what it shows. It shows it being underneath the corner of the driveway.
Because a few years ago, they came and they cleared like all the trees and stuff like that from the area so they can see it from above,
Right.
And when they cleared it, I remember it being to the left of their driveway, and like 25 feet to the left of their driveway.
Well, as an example, per the use agreement, you're not even allowed to plant trees in that zone. Right. So, I mean, I understand the use, but it's very restrictive. I mean, it's safety. Again, we've had this pipeline in the community, what is it, 1965 or before, without incident, but it is very high pressure, very large diameter, very large volumes of gas going through there. And it's a very serious thing. I mean, if anybody were to hit that line, it would not be a small thing. It would not be a small thing.
Well, does it make sense? Well, I mean, is there anything about, have we been in contact with the gas company?
I have emailed the plans to their main office in Connecticut, and they are reviewing the plans.
Okay, so
Oh,
they're,
they
revi-
are.
okay,
Oh,
so they're
great.
reviewing the
Oh,
plans
that's great.
because
That's great.
they may want to have some input on whatever construction is going to proceed, just because of the safety concerns that have been raised. But let's talk about what I'm still not quite, you still haven't had the chance to articulate exactly what you're going to do.
Yeah, sorry to.
And
But before, I think just, the way listening, looks to me like the easement is 75 feet wide.
Yep.
Then there is a 25-foot buffer zone, right?
No,
What is the 25 feet?
That's to the-
That's where the pipe is allegedly located, the line is located.
it's just showing that evidently the pipe is not like 33 feet from the easement edge. It's 25 feet
But
from
on
the
this
easement edge.
particular survey, I see a dimension of 75, then Tennessee, dash line, if that's the pipe, so be it. And then there is a 25 feet, and then, all right, so what's that 25 feet? Is that like a wetland buffer zone?
That's an approximation from the house to the pipe.
Okay, so that's not part of the easement.
It's on the easement.
It is part of the easement.
It's the buffer.
So if you look here, here's the edge of the house.
Yes,
From the edge of the house
How's it
to
down
the
there?
approximate location of the pipe
Is
is
25
25
feet.
feet.
Yes.
The easement is a 75-foot.
Includes
easement, so
Including
it
the-
favors the left side.
Including the
by
25.
so that's
Includes the
70,
25.
okay, that's the whole, I'm sorry, I thought 75 was from the
From here
pipeline.
to
I
here.
I got you, my apology, I got you, I understand.
Right, so
Yes.
the pipe's not in
Okay.
theory in the middle of the easement.
The line is not in the middle of the easement, that's the way it's shown, yeah.
Okay, John, sorry for all these
No,
interruptions.
that's fine, I mean, we
Yeah.
need to go through the questions, so, they're valid questions, so we did send it to the So he did send it, we'll see what the gas.
I sent it on Thursday. I spoke to them on Thursday.
So the concept here is, this is the existing house. Right, I could mark here, right, I forgot about this, right? So this is the existing house, which we're just putting a second floor on. So we're not changing anything under it, other than our plan is to put a deck off this corner of the house. And then, because we're trying to get the garage not in the basement, our concept was to build a two-car garage off to the side of the house. I pulled it forward 5 feet in front. I pulled it in front of the house, and then I was putting a front porch in front of the existing house.
And that's the thing in dispute?
So this is the thing that's getting closest to the easement line, or this is the new construction that's on the site. The rest of it, putting the second floor on the house really is irrelevant because we're not changing anything below us. So
You're keeping the existing footing, right? The
we're
foundation?
keeping the existing foundation, the existing first floor we're keeping, we're just
So
renovating.
that should not be an issue, yeah.
So the whole second floor really is probably a non-issue.
Yeah.
We only have the existing non-conformity on the left side of the house, which is supposed to be 15 feet, and it's 14.8.
Now with the garage, there's no garage now. The garage
The
is,
garage is in the basement.
the garage is in the
Drive
basement.
under the house to get to the garage, and the driveway right now this is the driveway here. So the driveway actually drives into the easement,
Drives into the easement.
right? So we drive over, the driveway's over the easement.
So would,
So our thought was we get rid of the asphalt on the easement, and then it's just grass,
right,
which if anybody has to go in and dig or do something, like,
Right.
there would only be dirt on top of whatever's there, and then the driveway's smaller in the front of the house. That's how we reduce the lot coverage.
well, that's, I mean, I think that is
They're
sort of
removing,
like.
they're removing the driveway.
Yeah, that's sort of Don's
But
concern.
it's right now,
is that it's right
within the
underneath
easement,
it.
right?
It's within the evening.
Yes, so,
Or I guess we could keep it as a sports court if we were really afraid that we couldn't remove the driveway. If we
Right,
put the
that'll-
garage
you
in
have
the
to
front.
discuss with the
I mean,
gas
That would be
company.
another, I guess,
Yeah.
option. I would think having an easement and having it all dirt would make more sense, but,
Right.
but I don't think removing a driveway should be that difficult, because we're only talking about like item 4 and a driveway, so it's not like we're removing a
Right,
structure
right.
or something.
If you build a new garage,
Right.
can you construct the driveway that would be completely off the easement?
Yeah, it is.
I
The
think
driveway
that's
will
what-
be off the easement, because the
Would
driveway's
be,
going to be.
is that any
That's right.
proposed? Yes.
That was
Right.
the whole point.
Okay, all right.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and we can also play right now, they kind of want the garage and more storage, and so, I mean, we could, if we had to pull the garage a little more forward to have a little bit more buffer on the easement, that we could probably tweak something to try to make that work, maybe pull it a little more to the front if we feel that that's an issue, and adjust the numbers. So, but that's what the concept was, to add the garage to the side of the house.
Right.
So it's that garage that would require about 9-foot variance, correct?
Right, to the front.
To the front.
Yard and the front porch, because if we go to let's go.
And that's kind of necessitated because of the easement.
Because they can't move back. They can only.
Like on a normal house, we could have maybe pushed out the back, we could have,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But you can't do it now.
But you want to
We-
clear the easement, so you've got to move everything
well,
forward.
right, we can't build on the easement.
Right.
And then, like, could we make the driveway still enter the garage from the side? I mean, I guess in theory you could, but then we need a bigger driveway, and like, it just makes more, like, in my mind, it just makes more sense to have the 2 garage doors on the front, smaller driveway, get off the easement, so that's why we did it the way we did it.
Right,
So,
right.
so the only real footprint change on the house is the front porch, which is in the front, that has nothing to do with the easement, and then it's the garage. So this is the only piece where really foundation, digging, and putting in, it's gonna, it'll be, the footings have to go down 42 inches. That's like, but it's gonna be a slab on grade. We're not like putting a basement, like it's the least that we can put over there, and we felt, it wasn't that intrusive. And it made the house look good, and then we did the front porch, and then we basically just added over the footprint of the house. And we did kind of a hip roof, we did some gables in the front to soften it. So I think coming up and coming around the bend, like the 1-story 2-car garage sticking out for the front porch, you're on the curb, I don't really think anybody's gonna notice that house is that much closer to the road than the rest of the house as far as blending in with the neighborhood. And the roof lines and the architecture, we thought we're trying to do a soft house and not make it look that bulky. So that's what, those are our issues.
Okay. Well, I gather, have you filed an application with the ZBA yet for the variance?
I
or is
did,
that
but I
something-
need your approval to go there.
Oh,
Your referral.
right.
I need your referral, but I had,
Okay.
we have the application all set.
Okay.
Good.
Fees
Right,
actually were
because
paid.
because what we'll do, well, at least what I propose, is that we, of course, make the referral, but we also set a public hearing for next month, so that if everything goes smoothly, you know, we can adjudicate the application next month and not waste any time. I want to
Can,
sort of move
Mr. Chairman,
forward.
can we do anything to help the applicant in front of the zoning board? Because I keep looking at this property, what a hardship that this
Well, I mean,
that transmission
Well,
line
I mean,
has
I
caused.
mean, I need to present to them, and it's their job to decide whether it's a hardship or not. I think everybody's gonna notice it's a hardship, and, I
Yeah.
mean, they look at the hardship, and look at what you're building, how you're building it, what it's gonna look like, so.
well, I mean,
Is the,
So I don't think they need to recommend, I mean, you could always give a positive recommendation.
I
if they don't
can't
necessarily
imagine
want
that they would say no.
John, does the nonconformity have to do with the fact that it's on a court and your next house is set back? Because I know I had that issue when I.
No, I think the nonconformity on the right side of the house is just when it was built, or the new surveyor lost space, like, it's just, it's slightly off, it's just really, I think, the newer survey from when the house was built is just,
More accurate.
is more accurate or less accurate.
You know,
One
but
one
that's-
used to think that
hopefully
surveys
that side
were,
yard
like,
variance is
always
not
the
a big
same.
deal.
And I have one project that was in
2
Rybrook
inches,
that we had
yeah.
3 surveys
inches,
over like 30 years. And the setback off that side yard was three different
figures, right.
figures. And it was like, we just went with the new, they had to pick the new one to just like go with the variances, because it was like, it was
Right.
mind boggling. But
Okay.
Well, we're
it's not
talking,
always accurate, so the number's slightly off, and we're just gonna get the variance to work off the survey.
Okay, Robert, we have a resolution for.
yeah,
for
I
a
just,
resolution?
one other thing I think that the board should address was the survey that I saw was from 2020. Is that right, John?
Yes.
Yeah, so,
Updating it?
Well, you said you wanted the topo
Topo.
added, so we need to update it with the topo.
okay.
Yeah, I would do that.
Are we talking about the resolution to refer to the zoning board, or the resolution to?
Well, I think we're
Put the
just.
public notice.
I think we're just asking the applicant to do that. I don't think that's pursuant to,
Yeah, no, sorry, I was going back, not the mapping question.
oh,
I'm sorry.
No,
Was the
sorry.
next resolution going to be the one to refer it to the zoning board?
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna refer it to the zoning board, so,
All right.
okay.
This one I'll read. Whereas John G. Scarlato, architect, submitted an application on behalf of Scott and Stacy Schwartz, the applicant, for site plan approval for the proposed construction of a new second-floor addition, side addition of a 2-car garage, a new front porch, new rear deck, and interior renovations at an existing single-family residence on the property located at 35 Meadowlark Road. Whereas pursuant to the building inspector's notice of disapproval dated August 7th, 2024, and revised September 9th, 2024, the applicant requires certain variances. And whereas the applicant desires to pursue those variances before the ZBA, now therefore be it resolved for the reasons set forth in the written resolution, the Village of Rybrook Planning Board hereby refers the application to the ZBA for the listed variances.
Okay, unless there's any desire to discuss any modifications to the resolution, can I have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution?
Moved.
Second.
Mr. Grzan,
Yes,
Mr. Richmond,
Yes.
oh, sorry, skipped Mr. Crum.
Yes.
Michonne,
Yes.
Chairman Goodman,
Yes.
thank you. Sorry.
Okay. And the next issue relates to scheduling a public hearing, which I think we should do. I think it'll move the application along. If for whatever reason we're held up, we can always adjourn the
Right,
public
that's what
hearing.
we could open
It
it.
will, yeah.
Or if you need more information, we can at least start it, and then.
Exactly. I just
Open
don't
it.
want to, I just don't want to just have to wait for the ZBA and then schedule a
Right,
public
no,
hearing. I
no.
think it's a waste of
I
time.
appreciate that, because that wastes an extra month.
Okay.
I think in my mind, the key here is gonna be that pipeline looks at the plans and they have no problem. I think that's really, yeah. I think to me that's, and let's hope the zoning board would look at the hardship and
Yeah.
go in a,
I mean,
go in a
I
positive
think,
direction.
I think the zoning board will
Yeah.
approve it. I'm
Yeah.
not thinking they won't, but if they don't approve it, then that saves you, because then you don't have to do anything.
Well, let me ask you, could you build the second story without
Yeah, I mean-
leaving the garage where it is now?
Yes, so we do have the option, like, money, or if approval's an issue, like, we could get the variance for the front porch and get the front yard setback and not do the garage, and leave the garage in the basement if that really became an issue. So there are options, and we still would need the right variance in the front for the porch and not do the garage if, let's say, the gas company said we couldn't do the garage.
John,
See,
Or
I,
maybe we has to go to a one-car garage versus the two.
see, maybe you just, sorry to interrupt, but maybe you want to wait for the input from the gas company, because I, for one, would favor what you've got, the new thing. I think continuing to drive effectively over the gas pipeline
it's much
is
more
much more
problematic,
problematic.
yeah.
I would be willing to testify,
Well, see,
I'm not an expert, but testify to
the
the,
variances for the front, and then they say,
Right.
I can't do it, right? The variance is only for the porch, and then we leave the garage where it is, so it's not like, if I get the approval, I have to use it.
Yeah, no, you're.
But I think I agree with that. This plan makes more safety reason than what you have now.
No, that's what I felt, like, if you have an easement on your property, it'd be nice to not be driving over, just having to
Exactly.
turn.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly,
They need to do
exactly.
something.
Much
plus, let
smarter.
me just say, if you leave the driveway where it is, you're probably increasing the, what is it called, the drainage, right? The impervious.
Well,
Right.
right, I'm reducing.
So if you leave the
impervious.
driveway, taking that driveway out, you're reducing the impervious. If you leave the impervious, there's only a 400,
Right, and
you've
then
worked
you
here,
have to deal with
400 square feet, which you're going to exceed. Then you're going to need Coltex. And then I would ask you, looking at the site plan and looking at the slope of the
Right.
plan,
Where's it gonna go?
where would the Coltex go? Because I can't go in the 75-foot zone.
They can't be in the easement, yes.
So then where would you put the Coltex? You know what I mean? So it's,
What we are really saying from the planning perspective, it makes sense to give the variance.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I'm not sure I'm not sure any of this makes any sense without the variance. And without this plan.
Yeah,
I think it's a very good plan to make everything better. And if you get into the cascading thing where now you need
for sure.
Coltex,
Right.
you're on a hill, again, I don't see any downhill spot where you could put it. That's not in the easement.
No, I mean, that's kind of like I always try to come in with logical things
John,
that make
Mr.
sense.
Scalata, I'm not going to
and
speak for
work.
the rest of the board, but if it's worth, at least on my behalf, you can say to the zoning board that the planning board prefers your plan and with the variance.
Well, there's really not much I can do
Can
without
we
the
put
variance, because I
that, can
can't
we
build
put
it
that in our
where I
referral?
can't build
Isn't
it.
there, aren't there in the zoning board resolution, aren't there like planning board considerations?
Well,
Yeah.
there is a space
I
that
mean, it
they
would
left
seem
that
to
they
me-
can put
Yeah,
this.
so you can,
I mean,
that's
you
what I
can
would do
give
that
a
if you'd like to
positive
do that.
recommendation.
Yeah, you can, I mean,
Yeah,
you know.
let them know how we
yeah, you
feel
can-
about it.
You can
Yeah,
put something
for
in,
sure.
Robert, and you can circulate it to me and I'll take a look at it.
Okay.
About, I think, some notation that, in view of the easement, the
Yeah.
plans, as presented, seem to reasonably address,
I suspect
Whether
it's
you're in
not gonna
support of it,
be
that's
that
fine,
hard
because
to
it makes
convince
them feel better too.
Yeah, of
that
course,
you're
yeah.
in line with it.
Have you, I'm sure you've given some thought to construction management. How are you going to, how is the second floor going to be built? How are you going to manage this easement that you can't put any
I mean, they're gonna have to
equipment
just do
on?
all the work from the front of the house, which I don't think is that difficult, because the backyard then also becomes a hill, so I'm not quite sure they're gonna go in the back that much anyway, so most of the work will just have to
Clearly,
be
you're not
done.
going to be able to bring the crane over the pipeline, that's for sure.
No, but they shouldn't really need a crane to, I mean, it's a fairly normal second floor, so I'm not, I mean, most of it they would do from the front. If they had brought a crane in, they'd do it from the front anyway, they'd do it off the road. But I'm not, I mean, it's a fairly normal house, the spans are pretty normal construction, so it should be fairly easy.
I mean, they may give you a corridor. It says, owner shall not operate or permit the operation of any heavy equipment on the company easement without the company's prior written consent, which the company may withhold on condition in its sole discretion. Heavy equipment shall only be allowed to cross company facilities at locations designated by the company. Owner shall comply with all precautionary measures. I mean, it's possible that they could give you some sort of very close into the building or something.
Right, they could give us an area
Like
that we
a
could
few
go on the
feet.
easement.
Yeah.
And, and with the steel plate covering, I'm sure.
Right. And it also says, I mean, suggestion to build it into your budget, that they may have a rep there the entire construction period.
No, that I would.
Owner shall construct,
But insofar as Mike has already sent the plans to them, I think that it's really, what they want to do now. They've been notified
Yeah, we
about
need to- we
this.
need to figure out
They
what-
see the plans. It's really up to them to decide, how serious they want to.
Right, and what's involved.
And what's
with
involved.
dealing
We
with
should,
that.
we shouldn't be the ones to guess and assume. They're the experts.
Right.
If they think that there's concern, let them send a rep. If they have an issue with the plans, let them
Right,
speak
or
up.
let us tell them what to do, we need to do.
it says,
what to do.
a company rep shall be on site to monitor any construction activities within 25 feet of the company's facilities. I don't know whether they mean the pipe or they mean the easement. Owner shall notify company's damage prevention manager at least 72 hours prior to commencing any construction activities.
Do you recall if we had, this gas line traverses the village, did we have another application where we were close on top of the line? I don't recall. How did we handle it? Other instances?
Well, the only other application that you had was the one on Lincoln Avenue, which was on the facility itself. So they managed themselves.
Well, that was their own
But,
pie, yeah.
Yeah, so that was the only other one. But I don't recall in the years I'm here that we had
I don't
someone
recall
with
either.
the
I don't recall
pipeline.
either. In all the years I've been here, I don't remember doing that.
What was probably the closest house to the pipeline?
I don't recall any either.
Yeah.
I've looked at a lot of it seems to traverse through underneath public streets. So it's unusual that it goes through neighborhoods.
But, that was my question, under normal circumstances, if the house was there, it would be very difficult to put this gas line so close to the existing home. So I kind of suspect that the line was there before the home.
Yeah.
Well, back when these homes were built, things were a lot easier to get approved.
Yeah, yeah.
No, there's no specific prohibition about building right up to the edge of the easement. Like even now, there's no the gas companies, these transmission companies are very flexible, let's say, because they want to get their pipelines through communities.
Right, and they need, and the reason is they need the access to get in there to fix or repair or maintain. So they need to get in there, so I get the whole
But
point.
again, it's way beyond repair and maintain. This thing is, because it's out of sight, I just want to emphasize, like, if this was a transmission line, it would be one of those enormous towers. Right, we understand in electric distribution
no,
between a
those
local
towers that
lines
yeah.
and those huge towers. This would be a huge tower electric line. Because it's out of sight, now, for all I know, it's 50 feet underground, and the gas company's gonna go, yes, but. So, let's see what they say, but this is not a regular gas line. This is not a regular sewer line. This is not a regular water pipe. This is not a regular set of electric cables. This is a very, very high-pressure, 24-inch diameter pipe. It's huge, filled with high-pressure natural gas, which, if you hit it in the wrong spot, can explode. I
Something
just
to
want to
think about.
emphasize that because I'm saying this at the, no, I'm saying this at the I'm sorry, I'm saying it at the beginning of the project. We put all these notices out to the community on such, I'm planting a tree, I'm going to put a notice, the planning board, I'm going to put a hedge. I'm at the edge of a water course, I'm on a steep slope, we notice the heck out of it. This is a public safety concern. I'm not saying it can't be done reasonably, safely, et cetera. No, but I'm just saying this is not to be taken, in my opinion, this is not to be taken lightly. This is not to be taken lightly.
Well, I think
I think we need to investigate.
Okay.
No.
Well, I'd rather
No,
make
no,
you
no.
nervous now than after you've spent your money.
I think the point is that without discussing this at all, a homeowner could get the false impression that this is not a very big deal, and they may go ahead and do the construction without contacting the gas company, and no one would really know the wiser. But because of the potential scale of a problem that could be created by this, is just really a message to take it seriously. The village did the right thing in contacting the gas company and being proactive about it, which they should get credit for. And we'll get instructions from the gas company as to how to manage this. If they don't care about it, then they don't care about it. I mean, they know what's underneath the ground. But I think, everyone has done the right thing in terms of mediating this risk. You now know about it and know the potential scale of it. The village has done its thing in contacting the gas company. Your architect is well advised of this. We are aware of it. So I think it'll all work its way out fine and nothing is going to happen. But, you have to walk into a construction project with your eyes wide open, knowing all the risks. And so now we do know that. And we have the benefit of our engineers here. That's the beauty of the planning board. It's not just a bunch of friggin' lawyers here, okay? We have people that actually build things and know what they're doing when it comes to dealing with these sorts of facilities.
The very fact that you have such a restrictive language in the use agreement suggests that, we're dealing with something that could be dangerous. It doesn't mean you should move out of your house tonight, please, okay? If everybody does their thing, you are going to be safe.
It's called fiduciary responsibility.
Exactly, yeah.
And it is called due diligence.
Due
is what it's
diligence,
called.
right.
I'm not worried about it all now or when you finish.
There we go.
We're not gonna be living there during this.
Okay.
Good idea.
I just want to finish this off because we do have a public hearing notice to schedule. So who has the resolution? Malcolm, you do? All right. Do your thing.
Whereas the applicants, Scott and Stacy Schwartz, submitted an application for approval of a site plan proposing the addition of a second floor, a side addition for a two-car garage, a new front porch, and a rear deck on the existing dwelling unit located at 35 Meadowlark Road. Therefore, be it resolved, the planning board of the Village of Rybrook will hold a public hearing on October 10th at 6:30 at Village Hall. In a virtual format as may be determined depending on public health concerns to consider the above referenced application. Be it further resolved that the applicant is hereby directed to comply with section 250-40 of the Village Code regarding notification of the public hearing.
Okay. Have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution schedule.
Can I suggest an addition?
No.
Rather than just the scope of building, also potentially removing a driveway over a high-pressure gas transmission easement?
This is with respect
To the notice. It says,
notice of the public
public hearing.
the public
The
hearing.
public hearing says, here, you're gonna build an addition on a house.
Okay.
But the safety issue is that they're also gonna be demolishing, at least the proposal as it's written,
The driveway.
a pavement located over the top of a high-pressure gas transmission line, or you could say a 24-inch Tennessee interstate gas transmission line. To me, it's like a public safety issue that anybody that lives nearby that wants to come. It's the same thing if you're putting a hedge or you're possibly flooding someone else's property. People in the nearby area should know it's part of the project. That's my opinion, but if the rest of you think that's overkill?
I don't have any objection.
I
to it.
think you should try and phrase it a little bit less terrifying, if I were you.
I would leave it the way it
We
is.
appreciate that.
I mean, you can say it, but you can find a way to just say that there are issues of the pipeline, and you don't have to go into the details of what could possibly happen.
I mean, if I was a neighbor, I'd want to know. But
Mr. Schwartz,
then again, they hopefully do
How
know.
long you been the owner of the home?
4 years.
So the driver was there when you bought it? Okay, that's good.
Yeah, no,
Did
the
you know it
drivers-
was there when you bought it?
We had that agreement
We had
done
that done,
before we
yeah.
bought the house.
Right, and you knew exactly what kind of a pipe it was? Oh, okay, all right.
It runs through a lot of the town, honestly.
Yes, it does.
Across the street.
I guess it begs the question, did the pipeline give the approval to construct the driveway over the easement?
They actually approved that they would fix the driveway too. If they had to come and repair it and destroy the driveway, they would also agree they would
They would
repair
pay
the
to
driveway
fix it.
too.
Okay, so
I-
they knew the driveway was built.
I have,
Okay,
a,
then-
I have a feeling it's going to be far less intimidating than it sounds here.
There's a fence there too, also
Yeah,
they know about
yeah.
the
Yeah,
shop.
they know everything that's there.
Okay,
Not,
then-
not that there isn't
Except the play
a
yard.
consideration
No,
here,
they,
but
they wrote that agreement, the play yard was there, we built the
Okay.
house
A
like
guy
that.
came by recently
Yeah.
and walked
Okay.
through it and saw.
Yeah.
so they know everything that's there.
Okay,
Yeah.
Right.
all right,
So you cover your bases, that's important, yeah.
all right.
You're fine.
I mean, we can,
You're fine.
I mean, we can keep things the way they are. I
Yeah,
think that, I think that's.
So you can just say it borders the gas easement or something.
Right, right, right.
Aware of it, but
It can be something innocuous. We'll figure out the
Wanna write the
language
letter?
for it.
I write the note?
I would leave it the way it is.
Leave it the way
I'd
it
leave
is.
it
I would leave
too.
it the way it is.
I would leave it the way it is
We'll
also,
put the checker flags
Yeah.
up if you don't have to.
Yeah.
because obviously there was a public hearing at the time anyway,
And
or
the,
it should have been.
and the gas
right.
company is aware of it, so that's all that matters.
I
That's
mean,
all
it's,
that matters.
it's
I
not
mean,
up to
what-
me. The resolution can be modified or can be voted on.
I don't,
as it is
I mean,
drafted.
I'm
It's entirely up
inclined
to you.
just to leave it the way it
Leave it
is.
the-
It's
leave it
really
alone.
up, the gas company is the ultimate arbiter of risk.
They
here.
will
It's not-
mitigate
it's-
this
right, it's
completely. They will
not-
mitigate the
Right,
demolition
right. I mean,
of the
the fact
driveway.
that neighbors know about it is sort of irrelevant. It doesn't really mean anything.
I move
okay?
on the resolution.
Right. I sort of agree. I acknowledge Don's concern, but I think we should leave it.
Then I second it.
Mr. Grzan,
Yes.
thank you. Mr. Crum,
Yes.
thank you. Mr. Richmond,
Yes.
Ms. Schoen,
Yes,
Chairman Goodman,
Yes.
thank you.
All right.
And Robert, you are going to put a little caveat into the recommendation? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, I'll sort-
Thank you very much.
you're welcome.
Thank
Good
you,
luck.
guys.
I'm sure it's going to work out.
Oh,
Three crazy kids that need more space.
Understood. Well, you're working with a top-notch architect, so he'll work it out. All right, we don't have any further items unless someone wants to propose one.
Can we end the meeting?
Motion, second to adjourn?
Second.
Aye.
No, I don't want to
We
adjourn.
got off are we off the record now?
No, not yet.
We are still, okay, then I'm not gonna say anything. Are we still off the record?
We might still be on. We might still be on. We might still-